Hello, my friend, and welcome back. My name is Anne, and today I want to do a card pull for us to see what kind of message the universe has for us today. So, we pulled the Great Gathering, and now I actually did a video on this. I want to say like a week ago I did a card pull and I pulled this exact same card. Now this is I don't know, 44 card oracle deck. So when we continue to pull the same kinds of cards, it is just the universe reinforcing those messages. I mean, it is no coincidence, because there are no coincidences, that we drew this card again. And I can say for myself personally that this card really resonates with me today. I actually had someone reach out to me this week that I have never really talked to. We are I guess internet friends, Instagram friends, and they reached out to me asking how I was. And it was very interesting because I just felt compelled to open up a little bit of the rough winter that I had and how I really focused on how everything was happening for me and not to me, and that everything was going to be okay, and that I'm loving the spring and I'm feeling like the pieces are coming back together of myself in a new and better way. And they said something very interesting. We were back and forth a little bit, and they said, because I said, this is the time that now more than ever that we need to stick together. And he said, yes, please make sure that you're checking on your people too, because it seems like everyone is crazy right now, and I think that a lot more people need support. And that really resonated with me, and this card is just reinforcing that. It's just reinforcing that this is a time for us to come together. This is a time for us to be unified. This is a time for us to, yes, check in on our people. Let's ask how people are doing, not in a general passing on the street like, hey, how you doing kind of way. Let's ask people that we care about and that we know truly how they're doing and truly how they're feeling, because yes, we are in a time of awakening, and we are in a time of evolving faster than humans have ever evolved before, which to me is extremely exciting, and I just feel so grateful to be here during this time. However, awakening is sunshine and rainbows, but awakening is not all sunshine and rainbows. To use, I guess, 3D words, it is hard, it is painful, and it can be very up and down, and especially when you are unaware that you're even going through an awakening, or you are unaware that it is going to be like that, it can be daunting and haunting and scary. And we really need people. What we really need right now, and what I was really called to, was to come out of this spiritual closet. To, when you're reaching out to someone and, they're going through a hard time or they're not okay, I think it's very easy to fall back into the old way of wanting to comfort, to maybe compare, not exactly compare, but, you sympathize or empathize through also sharing your hardships. And that is an okay way. And you don't want to be preaching like everything happens for you and everything happens for a reason. But what you do want to do is you really want to provide support and to ask, how can I support you right now? How can I assist you right now? And more than ever, this is so, so important. Probably the best way that you can be of support, the best way you can be of help to someone, is to not only ask, but to then listen. And I've been reflecting on my listening skills, and I feel my listening skills is something that I have been consciously working on for a few years now. And I consider myself to be a pretty good listener now. Um, and one of the things that I would like to share that has helped me become a good listener, because it was the biggest thing that I think was keeping me from being a good listener, and it was to, I forget where I read it, but I read somewhere that when someone is speaking, you should be listening to them like you listen to music. Just taking it in and listening to them for the sake of listening. And not planning your response. I know when people are talking, sometimes a response will, well, at least it happened for me, would pop into my head, and then I would kind of like repeat it because I didn't want to forget what I was going to say to them, because I felt like it was helpful and meaningful and whatnot. But in the midst of doing that, it was keeping me from being a good listener, and it was keeping me from being present and listening to what they were saying. So now I've completely dropped that. When someone is speaking to me, I only listen. And then the other thing is so if you're afraid that you're not going to know what to say when someone is done speaking, you have to let go of that, because the words will be there. And when they are finished speaking, it is okay for it to be quiet. It's okay for there to be a pause. You don't have to instantly give your advice or give your input, because a lot of times the healing that you can provide someone is in the listening. It is not in your response. It is not in your advice. One of the most healing things you can do for a person is to make them feel heard. And that is so incredibly important, and because a lot of times people aren't exactly looking for your advice. If you had ever given someone advice and you thought they were asking for your advice because they were telling you their issue, and then they didn't listen to the advice that you gave them, and you're like, well, why didn't they take my advice? I have experienced this a lot. It's because they didn't really want it in the first place, and they weren't really asking for it. And by sharing their issues, they were really just asking for your ear. They were asking for support through your attention. Your attention is the most valuable asset that you have. So when someone is speaking to you and they want you to listen, that is the most valuable thing you can give to them in that moment, is your attention. And that is why it is so healing, because it is such an incredible asset to have someone's full attention. That is where the healing happens. It's not exactly in the advice. It's not what you're going to say after that. It's not exactly, yes, like if you would feel inspired to respond, okay, then respond. But also understand that by you giving your full attention and being a good listener, that is actually your part in the healing. It is not what you are going to say after. And I think that this is a lesson that we can all heed, that really has to do with this card of us. It's all coming together. Intuitive hits Soul Tribe, the Great Gathering. So I do think that this is happening definitely on a metaphysical level. Yes, everything is coming together for us personally, but everything is coming together for us as a collective. And we are being forced and squeezed to choose different ways to connect, because we are still going through this pandemic. And we are separated in different ways, which is okay. And I think that one of the big reasons for us to be physically separated is to force us to go within, that we can no longer numb and suppress things by going to social gathering after social gathering, and having a very busy schedule has caused us all to slow down so we can deal with our shit, and we can go within, and we can be by ourselves to do that. But that was kind of a 2020 thing to really bring things up and to really look at things. 2021 now, we're more moving into the way that we are supposed to be, and that is a collective, a soul tribe gathering, the great gathering. And that is really the message that I'm getting from this card today, that it is so important. Let's check up on our loved ones, let's check up on our friends, let's truly ask. When you ask someone, how are you doing? Ask them with the intent of the truth to come back as an answer, not as a surface level, like, I'm great, everything's been great. Because for a lot of people, things haven't been great. And when you come across someone that needs your support, yes, ask them how you can support them. However, make them feel heard when they are speaking to you. Listen with your full attention. And if when they stop speaking, if the only thing that you say to them is, I hear you and I see you, that can be the most powerful healing thing you can say to someone. To make them feel seen and heard is so powerful. And that is a power that every single one of us have. You may be like, oh, well, I'm not a great listener, like yada, yada, yada. No, it's a skill. You can learn it. You can learn how to be a good listener. It takes practice. And luckily, we are humans and we can practice things and we can get better. And you can become a better listener just the way I have actively worked on becoming a better listener. And it has taken a little bit of time, and it has taken a little bit of effort, and it has taken, mostly, it takes awareness. It's just awareness of giving someone your full attention without answering. And and I mean, I think this goes without saying, but I just want to say it, like, and without interrupting. We have to stop interrupting each other, because if you ever notice, a lot of times the things that you're interrupting with is something that someone, or you may not notice because they don't say it, maybe something that they would have said if you were to have let them speak without interjecting. So that is the message for us today, my friend. My name is Anne, and I hope you like this video. I hope it brought you some sort of light and value. If you feel compelled and you'd like to give it a little thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, I would greatly appreciate it. And until next time, my friend.